That is what you don't do with aspiring artists. You don't fuck with their spirit.
So when you were in Brahma, you looked at record labels and you saw the suits sitting there. Today, you're the suit sitting down looking at the young Brahmas. What's it been like?
Both my albums. Again, this is very old for half the listeners who are not yet born then. First album was 1998, and the second album was 2001. First one was a tiny indie label who I'm sure you've crossed paths with, Virgo Music, which was Naveen Salian. And he was okay because he was new and he was independent and he knew what the hustle was like. So he really went out of his way to do shit. I mean, he gave us our first rehearsal place, in a factory that he owned. And we did all of that shit. And he really hustled. Like, he went and printed 5,000 cassettes for us because our fans bought it at the first, I think it was Independence Rock, 1999 when we launched it. Or 98, right? He was that kind of guy. And then I went to a major label whose name I cannot take for many reasons. And to get the deal was really difficult because I remember clearly I sat in front of the A&R guy who's no longer around, I think. And the MD was a friend of mine and he said, you have to sell your shit to the A&R guy. So A&R guy sitting in shorts in office in one side room somewhere with a huge meat sandwich. And he was like, and he was munching like big jowlfuls of food while he was trying to listen to this young kid trying to tell him about his music. And I had a really bad feeling. I said, man, if this is how A&R people are, A, never be like that because it is very insulting and very downgrading and derogatory towards artists because it clearly shows you don't give a shit. And B, you don't really know. I mean, you don't ask, like, when we do A&R, and Atul, you know this more than anyone else because in my eyes, and I've said this before, you're one of the finest. You may be the oldest, but you're also one of the finest A&R people I have ever had the privilege of knowing and the privilege of calling a dear friend. But the point is that we ask about, I know everything about an artist and possibly stuff about his parents and his grandparents and the village he came from much before we even get to the kind of genre of music he's trying to sell us. We know them so bloody well, right? We're deep inside their head to understand what is the brain that's creating the music much before the music. We didn't see any of that. And it was not a good experience. Our fans wanted, the second album, that was the era of CDs. CDs had just come, right? So, like, I remember holding the CD in my hand for the first time in my hand, and man, I wanted to cry because it was just this incredibly, the album was called Reborn. It was a little fat, podgy baby lying down with a stamp of the phoenix on his head.
That was you.
Could have been. No, it couldn't have been me. It was really fair. I'm brown. So anyway, but the point is that I learned that is what you don't do with aspiring artists. You don't, and I don't want to say this, I don't want to underscore this in a bad way, you don't kill somebody's spirit.
Sure.
That kind of shit kills creative spirit. And the one thing you don't do with artists is you don't fuck with their spirit. My spirit was fucked with really early in my life, and forget what I did with my own career where I took a jump to go to the other Brahmas, but the one thing I swore that I would never, ever, ever, ever either be an A&R man myself or have A&R people who work for me, and we have several. I mean, we have the largest A&R army in the country now, across all the labels that I run, where the artist, the artistry, everything would be more important than anything in our companies. And that is the one thing I stand for, my company stands for, I'm very proud of it. I think globally people understand that as UMG. Our artists are the most important people in the world. So to your answer...
But hats off. I must say hats off to you, Devraj, because, you have created several labels under the Universal brand. And you've been signing artists consistently.
Absolutely.
And the artists have been happy with you. And that's a huge compliment to you as a leader.